Hey everyone, and welcome to Cloud Security Club. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a very good lab by Rhino Security Labs, that is CloudGoat. So if you know, CloudGoat is a vulnerable by design labs which has around 21 to 22 scenarios based on different services and different things to test your knowledge of AWS cloud pen testing. So in this video, I'm going to cover the first scenario of CloudGoat, that is vulnerable Lambda. So I have spinned up the lab already, and you can do it by doing this CloudGoat.py and create the lab. So you have the scenario name, you can put the command here, and you can just press enter and Terraform will do the work and spin up your lab. Then you have to configure your credentials in AWS credential file, and you can do that by AWS configure profile and give the profile name. So I have the profile of user Bilbo here, so I have used the profile name as Bilbo, but you can choose any profile name of your choice. So and as I have already got the compromised user, so if you are new to pen testing or if you are already into on-premise and pen testing, you should know that when you get a user compromised, you first check their username, you check who the user you have access to. So for that, AWS command is AWS STS get caller identity, and you have to enter profile in every command because you have set up a profile with the name and this is not your default profile, so you have to enter the profile prompt or flag, you can say, in every command. So I'll just enter it and I'll see what the user name we have, what the user we have access to. So here you get the user ID, you get the account ID, and you get the ARN of your user. And after the slash, you can see here is the username of the user that we have got. So we have the CG Bilbo vulnerable Lambda and the extra username that we have. Now, when you get a user, the second thing should be definitely checking the Lambda, the username permissions, the permissions that user have, and that can be inline permissions, attached permissions, these two type of permissions that are there. Now, firstly, I'll check if there are any attached user policies. Attached user policies are predefined policies that can be directly attached to many users as want. So I'll just go and write it down, the command here, and the command is this. So I'm writing profile Bilbo in everything, as I already told you that profile is not default, and we'll see the user attached policies. If there are any, we'll further enumerate it. So as you can see, we have got attached policies, and this means that we do not have any attached policies to it. Now, what if we get access denied here? Then you should know that you don't even have the permissions to list the policies, but here we have the permissions to list the policies. So this is a good point. Now we should check if they have any inline policies attached to it. Now if I go further to enumerate it, we'll see that okay, we have a single policy attached to it, and you can see here CG Bilbo vulnerable Lambda standard user assumer. So we have this policy, copy down the user policy name, and it will be helpful for you in the further use. Now we have got this user policy. Now the main thing is we have to enumerate what this policy contains, because by the name of it we can't assume anything what this policy is doing. So I'll just see if we have access to reading the policy details, and if we put the command, and you can see here I have put the policy name, I have put the get policy name. So these commands you don't have to learn by heart, you don't have to remember. You can use ChatGPT, there are so many cheat sheets, and most definitely there is our best blog that we have posted on our website. You can go and check it out there. We have all the commands written there, we have all the information, instructions given very clearly, with that you can copy as well, you can learn as well, and you can remember as well. So if we see here, we have got the policy instructions. So we have got what is the policy about. So if we see CG policies username, and we have seen this username before, we have two things here. If you see the JSON file properly, you'll see they have two actions here. The first one is assume role, and the second one are actions for IAM, get, list, simulate, and this. So now if you were wondering how do we get the access or permissions to get the usernames, get the user policy, get everything that we are already enumerating, so this is where we are getting it from. So we have all the permissions get star to all the resources and list star to all the resources. So we did the list thing, we did the get thing to resources to our policies, and we got it because we had the permissions to do this. Now these four things are of no use for the purpose of getting privilege escalated, because we can only get or list things, we can't do anything further than that. So we have already used it few, and we'll obviously use it again as well. But the first thing is the most important one for us, that is STS assume role. And I know you can get it by the name, that this is somewhere the policy which is assume role, that we can assume a role. But let's see what we get further into it. And if you see the resource policy here, you'll see the role is CG Lambda invoker star. So we can get all the resources that is CG Lambda invoker of the CG Lambda invoker. Now we'll see what are the roles do we have. As we see, we have the assume role policy. We'll just go ahead and see if we have any roles here to check or to assume. And if we put this, and if you see here, while I have profile bilbo list I am user. This is the same commands that I am using before. The grep cg is for, because we know the command are cg related to cg CloudGoat. So this is just the short form, because you will get a lot of other basic and you will say the default roles as well. So to make it short and to make it precise, I have made this extra grep here to get the only usable or like needed commands here, needed information here. So we see we have one here and we have two. The two rules are there, that is assumable or that we can use to do further ahead information. So CG Lambda invoker vulnerable Lambda, and the other one is vulnerable Lambda CG applier Lambda. Okay, so we'll go deep into this, and if we go here, you can see this is principal. If you do principal is what, like who. Principal is basically who can access. So if you go there and see principal, and we have this ARN, and if you check it properly, this is the ARN of our user. This is the ARN of our user Bilbo that we just got, that got compromised, and we got the access to the user. So this is the function that we can access, because the principal is us, so we can access this role. Okay, good, it's a good sign. Then we can go ahead and further, and here we'll see the principal. If we go here, the principal is lambda.amazon.com. So we can't assume this role, because the principal is who can access this, who can assume this. So we can't assume this, because we are not the principal that is stated. This principal is Lambda, so only if we invoke or we run the Lambda function, then only it can be accessed. So we can just access the first role that is written here, and okay, that's a good sign. Again, we don't have to worry about it. So we'll just go ahead and see if we have any policies attached to this function. So if you go deep into the Lambda thing as well, the Lambda also has policies attached to it. Lambda also has other things attached to it, just like a user. So I'll just go ahead and see if we have anything attached to this Lambda function. Okay, so if we go here, and this is the list policies again. The command is same, but it is for the Lambda function now. Before we were using it for the user Bilbo. So we have got a policy name that is Lambda invoker. So great, we have a Lambda policy, a user policy attached to it as well. So we'll go further ahead and see if we can get access. Like if you see the chronology, we are doing it in the same manner, same order. First we got the user, then we enumerated it, we saw the inline policies, we saw that, then we found a user inline policy attached to it. The next part we did was we got into the user policy, we enumerated it further and checked what the policy is all about. Then we got the Lambda function, and again we saw and checked the policies attached to it. Again we got the user policies attached to it, list policies attached to it, and now we are going to check if the policy is of any use or not. So basically we are enumerating the policy now. And if I go here and see the policy, as you can see here, the function I've used the same function to get the policy this time. Before it was to list, now it is to get. So this is, I know, very overwhelming. The commands are very big, but if you see in a good manner, you'll see that we are just using the get and list commands as of now, and these are basic English commands, to be honest, like get, list, and the next one is what we want, list policy, role policy, whatever we want. So in this command I'll be doing this, and I'll see if there is anything attached to it, like if there are any roles attached to it. So if we see here, we have many things here. Okay, so first of all we have actions, list functions. We can list the function, we can invoke Lambda functions. Okay, that is a great thing. So what is invoke function? Let me explain it for a bit. Invoke means to run a function, to execute a function, if in simple terms. So suppose I have a function to do something or other thing in Lambda. To invoke means to run that function, to call that function. Okay, so I hope that's clear too. And list functions, of course, we have list functions, list stack, get function, and get policy. These are the things that helps us to enumerate further, and that should not be there, honestly. Why is anyone letting the user or anyone? And if you see, there are resources for all. Like the here one is only for this, but here they are organizing it for all. So this should not be done in a proper secured environment. So we have invoke function as well, list, get functions also, get policy functions also. So we have got all the things now, and we have seen that The Lambda function is there, we have attached policies to it, we have username attached to it, and we have a user that we can assume as well. So I guess this is the perfect time that we can assume the role. Now we if you saw, we just saw that we can assume a role, but we didn't assume it. Now what we did, we enumerated further whatever we could with that Bilbo user. So we are currently in the Bilbo user only, we have not used anything else, we are only in the Bilbo user, and we are enumerating the role, the other role that was Lambda function, and we were checking it out only. Now this is the time that we should assume the role to go it further, because in this, using this user, we can only enumerate it, we can't use the privileges that are given by that role. The role is not yet used by us. So I'll just paste the command, and this is a good command, and I'll explain it to you very goodly. And if you see profile Bilbo sts assume role, so the first command that we used, the very first command, was sts get caller identity. That was to get the username and get the whoami command, basically the whoami command for AWS. Now this is sts assume role, so this is to assume the role. We have put the role ARN that I copied in the first place, and then we have completed the role URN and then the role session name. The name you can give anything, I have given test because it is easier to paste and copy, and I have just given it test. You can give any name to it, and we'll just press enter to get the session ID. Now we are assuming this role, and we have to configure another role. So we have assumed the role, we have got another user basically for now, and this is for some time only, so do it fast, otherwise the token will expire. Now the same procedure we'll follow. We'll see that this is the access key, this is the secret access key, so we'll just configure a user that we just assume, and we'll just create on profile, and I'll give this profile name test. Okay, and I'll just copy it down here, access key ID, and paste it here, secret access key ID, and paste it here as well. And I'll just keep the region JSON file as it is. And if you go here, you'll see another thing, and if you configure your normal user, you'll just put access key, secret access key, region, and output format, just this. But when you do this, you have to enter the user session token as well. So for this, you have to know and how to put this here. Now I'll just put the AWS session token here, and then I'll show you the file, what the file is, because I can't show you the whole file of the configuration, the credentials. So I'll just put it down there, and I'll be back to you. Okay, so if you see here, I have put the AWS session token above. So I have put it here, and you can see I have all the things copied down here. Now if I go there and I'll just paste the same command for this user, what I'll get is, I'll see that the user, if you have any error in this command, I have got the username. Okay, so we have got the same use the same command, that is whoami command for this, and we have got the username for this user, cg lambda invoker lambda function, vulnerable lambda function. But if you get any error in this, just know that there is some error in the session token that you have put. The session token you have to put is in the last line for the credentials that you have put, and you have to name it AWS underscore session underscore token, and paste the complete token that is printed that you got before. Now we have the new user, and we are using the new user now. Okay, so we'll just go here and we'll see what all do we have here and what all we can do. So we have assumed the role already, and we have seen that we have got the username as well. Now we know that we have the list functions to Lambda, we have get functions for the Lambda, and we have all the privileges for the Lambda function here. We can invoke it as well. So we'll just first list all the functions out here, and we'll use the test profile because I have named it test. And if I put it down here, we'll see, okay, so I haven't specified the region, so I'll just put it again. And if I go again into the profile test, I'll just put down the region here now, because the region is must, and I'll just waste my time if I don't put the region. Okay, so you can just put the region in the first place, and US East 1 I'll do here, and just keep it as it is. And now if we try to do the command again, it should work because we didn't put the region before, and as you can see it worked very well because the region was the only problem. And here you can see the function name. We have one function here, that is vulnerable lambda policy applier lambda 1, and if we go down, okay, so there is only one function. As you can see, the function name is only here, and functions bracket is closed here, so we only have the one function, and that is this. and we have the function ARN here, we have the role here of the function, we have all the size. This function will apply a manage policy to the user. Okay, so if you see here, this function will apply a manage policy to the user. I know the description won't be that simple for in the production, in the real base scenario, but here you can assume or like guess that this function, if we invoke this function, somehow we'll get some of the user managed policy attached to our user. So we know that we can exploit it, but okay, we'll just ignore it because it won't be in the real case scenario. We'll be doing it in as the real case scenario, and we'll see all the things are here. We are all good, and we have got all the information that we needed. Now we have to see what the function is about. So if the order, we look at the order is still the same. We get something, first we list something, then we get that thing. So first we listed the function, now we are getting the function. First we got to know that there is only function. If there would have been more functions, we would have got more functions there. Then we have to enumerate all the functions now, but we have only one function, so we'll just get the function. And the function name, I'll just copy it down from here. If you go here and you'll see the function name, and I'll just paste it in there, and the function name is copied, and we got the function. Okay, so this is the location of the function, and repository type S3, so it is posted on S3, and S3 bucket is also another AWS service. And if we go there, we see everything. Okay, there is nothing else that is out of use, and this is the only thing that we need. And if we click on the link, I'll just copy the link out, so we'll just open the browser and we'll see if this is something that is of our use. And I'll just open the browser here. You can just click the link directly from here, but I guess my browser is not working properly. Okay, yeah, so I'll just paste the link here and we'll see what this is about. Okay, so I have got 2 downloaded now. So this is the function that we got. Okay, I'll just show you how this is, and you can name the function as it is. So what we have done till now, we have downloaded the function and we got the zip file of it. So this is the complete function that was deployed, that was hosted on the AWS Lambda. So this is the function. I'll just delete the one, I'll just rename it to function.zip, and I'll just unzip it here, and we'll see what this function contains. So the file is unzipped, I guess. Yeah, so we have many things here. We have been like, and you can see this is the proper code that they must have written, all there is in the real case scenario, and it will be same in real case scenario as well, I'm telling you guys. So I have the main.py here, tabulate.py, 6.py, and there are so many files as well. So as you can see, they are written SQLite, that means, and tabular forms are there, that means this must be a DB connected to it, there must be a SQL DB connected to it. So we'll just check the main.py file, and I don't have any text editor, but you can use VS Code, that is the best one, and I'll just see here if I get anything. So we have got the code open here, and this is a precise code. Now if we see, yeah, see, there is written my database DB, so there is definitely a SQLite DB connected to it. So this is a good thing, and this may be result in an SQL injection definitely. And if we read the code, and I know many of you don't know how to read a code, of course, because like not everyone knows Python, not everyone knows how SQLite works, not everybody is in the web pen testing field, but I'll explain it to you a little bit, and you can also chat GPT these things, because yeah, that's your friend. So I'll just explain that this is DB policies, and they are policies listed here. Okay, and next thing is policy. So we are going in depth in the policy, so we are doing a loop that is iterating to in the each policy. So this is the policy names, and the loop will go each by each to every policy name and put it here. So if we go here, statement, this is an SQL statement. So this is a database statement here, this is not any code and all. So this is select policy name from policies, where policy name equals to this and public equals to true. So what is the policy, what is the statement stating here? The statement is about selecting or getting all the policy names from the table policies, where policy name equals to whatever we put here and public is equals to true. Now what is SQLite here? Let me explain it to you. They have put the code in such a way that if we give policy name to anything, any payload, it will be executed directly. So suppose if the policy name is administrative access, of course, and if we see here administrator access, the public is false, and it will check the public is true and it will deny the statement. I agree, I definitely agree. But what if some hacker or us attacker here, what if we put a SQLi payload here that comments out the other part of the code, other part of the statement. So suppose I write the policy name XYZ here and I print this. So this is what happens when you want to put the code and you want to comment it out. So what this will do is this will comment out everything out of this. So this will just check the policy name and it will do the work it has to do. It will not check if the public is true, if the public is false. So basically they wanted it to be false. So the main purpose of this code was to make it not public. So they don't want public to access the administrative access, but we won't check it. We won't go further to that. We'll just comment it out and we'll just see if there are administrative access policy name there, just give it that. So yeah, there is definitely an SQLi and let's just exploit it. So we'll just close the code here because this is of we have done the use here, and I'll just not change anything into it, and I'll just go back to my SQL to my command line and I'll just see if we get anything from there. And we have got the code here. Okay, now it's time for us to get the roles. What are the roles attached to it? So I'll just go here and I'll just see roles name here, and I just want to copy the role name from here. Wait a sec. And this is the role we have and this is the role name, and I'll just copy the role name from here and I'll paste. Okay, so the role name is done, and if we see the list role policies attached to this role that we got previously, we can see that we have another policy attached to it, that is policy applier lambda 1. So we have got another policy and the order continues again, and we'll just go here and see if we have any policy attached to it. So policy applier is the another policy that we got, and the function is again going to be same, and that is we copy the function of AWS Lambda, and the function is AWS policy public policy applier, and see if there is anything that we can do. So again, this policy has IAM attached user policy, they have create log stream and login plug allow. Okay, so they have attached user policy. Now that's the thing that we wanted for now. The attached user policy means that this user role can attach policies to other user. So this has the privilege to attach policies to any user or to mainly this user that we have, and we have access to attach any policies to our user that we got access to. Now what we can do is, if you remember previously we got the code, we got the lambda code that we had, and we saw that there is an SQLi here. So now what we'll do is we'll just go here and we'll just see if we have function name again, and I'll just get the function. I'll just list the function because we'll need the function name now. Okay, so we'll list the function again and we'll see what the name of the function was, and if we go up here, the function name is here, and we'll just copy it down. Now we have got the username, and the only thing that is left is to configure our payload. So we know now that there is an SQLi and we know how to exploit it. Now let's create a file that will be our payload. So we'll just create a file for payload.json, and we'll put a payload here, and that I'll explain it to you very shortly. Okay, so I have created a file and I have pasted my payload. Now what this payload is all about, we have the policy name here, that is administrator access. Now as I showed you previously, we are putting an apostrophe here and then 2 dashes. What this will do is it will comment out all the things that is afterwards it. So we had the public checker in the statement, but it will comment it out, and we are using the username, that is our username from the before, and we have done it completely. Now we'll just back it out and we have the payload.json here. Now what we'll do is we'll just invoke the lambda function by using the payload, and we'll see if we are getting any success here. So this code just describe how you can invoke the lambda function. So I'm invoking the lambda function, I'm putting the function name here that we got previously. Now what this do is we are doing a CLI binary format. So we are putting in the raw data, so the data that we are putting is raw, but it will come out in the base 64 output. The payload file is the payload.json file that we just created, and this will create output.txt. Now if we run this command, we are invoking the function in the backend, and as you can see, status code 200 and execution version is latest. So basically the payload that we put and the command we invoked is successful, but we don't know what the result is. So if we go out and check out and if we get the out.txt file, we'll get to know what. Okay, so all managed policies were applied as expected. Now we are towards the end of this challenge. What we have done till now is we have applied the user managed policies that we gave in the administrative access, that we gave in the payload.json. So if you don't know, we are currently an administrator. Now we have got the administrator access, and if you want to check it out, I'll show it to you again. If you remember previously when we checked out the attached user policies that were attached to our Bilbo user, there were none. There were not any policies attached to it. But if we put the same command right now, and if we check for the user policies, attached user policies attached to our Bilbo user, we'll see, and the command is run, and we'll see administrative access. It wasn't there before. How did we do it? We invoked the Lambda function, we used an SQLi, we used the vulnerable Lambda, and we got the administrator access. Now you can do anything and everything that you want. Okay, so the thing is, now you are the administrator, and for the administrator part you can do anything like AWS S3LS. If you do anything you want, you are free to do it. So AWS S3LS profile Bilbo, if I do anything like that, and this command ran, the S3 buckets aren't there, but the command ran because we have all the access to it. We are the admin now, so we have escalated our privileges from a very normal user to an administrator. So what we did is, I'll explain it further, but for the sake of lab, I'll show you what we can do as we are an admin. So if you know, there is a Secrets Manager service in AWS, and which stores all your secrets. So suppose you have passwords, you have very secret files that you don't want anybody else to access, they are stored in the Secret Manager. So what we'll do is, as we are the administrator now, we'll check and see if we can list or get access to any of the secret files, because if we get access to them, the game is over. They have everything compromised. We have got the secrets out. So I'll just put the Secrets Manager command here, and I'll see if I can list the secrets, and here you go. We can list all the secrets, and you can see we have the secrets here, the vulnerable Lambda function flag is here, the ARN is here, and we have everything out here. Now secret ID is here, and you can see everything, like each and everything is here. We have done the command lines here, we have done the lab here, we have almost solved the lab, and you can stop it here. You can do further enumeration if you want, you can exploit it further, you can see if you get hands on anything, because this is a lab. Of course this is not a real environment. In the real environment you will do a lot of stuff here, but we'll just demonstrate. I've just demonstrated here that we have the administrative access because we can access to the Secrets Manager. Now to get the Secrets Manager, we just have to get the value, and we'll just copy the secrets value password name here, and we'll just see if we can get secret now. So we listed it, and now we are checking if we can get it. So we'll just go here and see what is the value here. Scenario stack, we want to get the secret ID here. So what is the secret ID? Let's check it out. Yes, this is the secret ID, the name is the secret ID. Okay, copy it, I'll paste it, and I'll see if we can get it. Okay, so yeah, okay, great. So we have put the command, there you go. We have got the command here, we have got the file here, and this is the name of the file, and we have got the secret file, secret ID is here, version ID is here, and the game is done. We have got the secret, we have got the privileges, and let me explain it to you now from the beginning. We got a user, the name was Bilbo. We checked the username by putting the whoami command for AWS. Then we checked the user inline policies, checked the attached policy users to it, and we found that for inline policies we had only one attached to it, and for user attached policy we didn't have any. Then we got to know that we have Lambda functions there. So we checked the policy name that the inline policy that we got, we checked it further, we enumerated it, we got that the policy has the Lambda functions, we got that policy has assume role function as well. Then we get into the Lambda function, we enumerated further, we saw that the assume role that we have, the role that we have provided there, that can be enumerated, that can use to get enumerate the Lambda function as well. So we enumerate the Lambda function, then we got to know the code is there, the Lambda function is there, we listed the functions, we got into the function, we read the code, we did the code review as well, we checked that there is, and we confirmed that there is an SQLi there. So we exploited the SQLi, we invoked the function, we got the privileges, we got the administrative access as attached user policy to our Bilbo user, which didn't have any policy attached to it, attached policy to it. Then we became the administrator, and then you are free to do anything, but we just did the secret manager thing because this is the most administrative thing that you'll do. So we just listed out all the secrets that is inside a secret manager. We did the get command for the secret as well, and we got the final flag. So this was the lab. We'll come with the other labs as well. We'll do all the scenarios, and you can still check it out, the blogs that are posted on our website, and you get more information to the scenarios. And thank you for watching this video.